We saw it with COVID,
Yep.
right? I mean, there's people that all of a sudden became the reinforcement army for the pharmaceutical companies. It's very strange.
Which is probably the biggest bad actor out there.
Yeah, I mean,
now.
they have the most criminal fines of any organization ever.
They own the media. They own the media.
Well, they definitely
They're the
have,
biggest advertisers.
Well, they also are promoting different politicians. I mean, the amount of money that pharmaceutical drug companies have just to distribute is just extraordinary. They have so much money. They make so much money. The crazy thing about the COVID situation, like when we were in the pandemic and the heat of everything, and they were profiting at this enormous level. I kept thinking, like, what are they going to do when this stops? Because all corporations have this idea of unlimited growth.
Yep.
If you're a stockholder in these corporations, they're all publicly traded. You want more money. You want the stock to go up.
20% a year, if possible.
Yeah, you want this constant. And now they have this extremely rare event, a pandemic. And then they have this very small window of time in terms of, like, you have a few years to try to get people where it's going to go off and become endemic, which is where it is now, right? So you have this small window of time where you can make insane amounts of money, but you're not going to make that money after that. It's like, it's not the same thing unless you can convince them to keep doing it over and over and over again.
Well, so first of all, we have obviously seen that the COVID vaccination, which is not a traditional vaccine, required more than 1, 2, 3 boosters. So that kept on going. That's definitely more money in the bank. But the financial system and the big pharma are connected in this regard. The financial system, I believe, the financial system needed a lockdown, needed a complete stop of spending. Everyone just had to stop and sit in your place because we never really fixed what happened in 2009. That was all shoved under the rug, and we just took interest rates down to almost zero. Free money, and that stimulated everything. We got free money for everything. Free money for every company, every DoorDash, every Silicon Valley, thing. You don't have to make profit. We'll just raise more money. Keep going. Until, if you look at what something called the reverse repo market, it's a banking thing, spiked just like it did just before the Great Recession, the housing bust. That's right then is when, we got a lockdown, we've got a pandemic. And I would argue that seeing as, this recent bug that people have that's going around, which is not COVID, it's not flu, whatever it is.
RSV?
No, it's unidentified. No, I don't think anyone cares anymore, although it seems to be pretty bad. It was the media that really freaked everybody out. We got, we had death counts on the screen, all this stuff going on and on and on. And everyone stayed home, and that allowed everything to calm down, allowed the financial markets to do some shuffling back and forth. And then we did, of course, what they needed to do is create a whole bunch of extra money and get that out there, which, of course, is what caused inflation. And this is going to be here for a while. And so those two are linked, whether purposefully or not. The lockdown and the pandemic and the fear and the destruction of companies and jobs, et cetera, was beneficial to the financial system. And now I think they're just out of control. I think it's like 40% of all dollars ever created, which, they're printed basically on a computer, were made in the last 3 years.
What?
So since the dollar started, yes.
No way.
Jamie, look it up.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, 40%.
Oh, my God. I can't handle this.
Yeah, and that went to you can, and that went to a lot of people got really rich. If you look at Lake Austin, after the pandemic, everybody upgraded their toys. There was new speedboats. Everyone had everyone who had money just made more and just did incredibly well. So
here it is.
This was November 21.
Is it a big deal that 40% of U.S. dollars was printed in the last 12 months? No, it's not. Well, thank you. What is this guy's name?
It's not. All right.
How do you say that guy's name?
I don't know him.
But how do you say his name?
Sohit.
Sohit Miglani. Okay, please read first. I received a high amount of negative comments and emails telling me that inflation is real and my article is wrong. Please note that nowhere in my article do I say that inflation doesn't exist. It is real and it is happening. The goal of the article was to separate the current economic conditions from the impact of the 40% printing statistics and the fact that they are not related in the way most politicians would communicate. I'm sure if you read enough articles, seen enough TikToks and tweets about this statistic, it sounds like a scary fact. And mostly it's been used by polarizing figures on social media.
I'm polarizing.
You are a polarizing
I'm a polarizer,
figure.
brother.
On social media to drive hysteria and scare people.
Sure.
Or for polarizing the public against their political opponent. But what does this figure mean, even mean, and is it really that big of a deal? The simple answer is no, it's not a big deal. The explanation is slightly complicated and informed by socioeconomics.
Well, I can tell you what this leads to. This is MMT, or modern monetary theory. And this is something that the economists are all in on. And the idea is, like Japan, you can just keep printing money, handing it out. And if you think unemployment insurance in Texas, even though it's supposed to be for 3 months, it is on par with a $65,000 or $70,000 a year salary. I mean, you can get by on unemployment insurance pretty well. For a bit. The modern monetary theory really is, like the universal basic income, Andrew Yang, that was his thing. This is what Japan did, and it's called the Japanese debt trap. And you just keep printing and printing. The problem you have is you need to have young people. You need to keep making human beings.
Oh, boy.
And this is the problem. And I've spoken to bankers, like real Wall Street guys. I know them, they're friends. And they say, oh, we have nothing to worry about in America when it comes to modern monetary theory. So why not? Because if we don't make enough babies, we'll just import them. Hence the border being pretty much open. Just keep people coming in. That's the idea.
Wait, you really think that the reason why they leave the border porous is because we need more immigrants because they're printing more money?
You need humans, literally need humans to do stuff.